Good morning, people. It's been about a week since I got to be out here. Almost a week. A lot of that was due to some family emergencies to where I had to watch a little kid and stuff, so I couldn't really get out here and check on stuff. So this is my first time seeing this as well. Let's take a look and see how the hammer is looking now that it's sat for a week with the wax and such. To me, that's still looking beautiful. And the handle feels good. Looks good. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna wipe off all the excess. You see the little white specks and such. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn around and take another nice clean rag. I'm gonna wipe it down. Okay, now, as I said, just turn around and wipe it down. All that wax has had time to get in there real good. All that oil has had time to get in there real good and get sealed into place. Now we're just kind of buffing it. If you take a look, not real dirty, just waxy. Behold the power of Crayola. Alright, now we do the handle. And I know it doesn't come through on the video so well probably, but the feel of this thing, it's like touching one of those old office desks or one of those really old chairs, kind that your grandparents had or great-grandparents had in their house. It's so smooth and nice, and feels almost lacquered, but it's not lacquered at all. You know that, I know that. All it is basically butcher board wax, or furniture wax rather, and some butcher block oil. And this looks absolutely exquisite. Now what do we do with it other than use it? Any suggestions? I'd love to hear it, because I'd be willing to put some kind of design around here or something, or anything like that that you guys might want to see. Hell, we might even inlay some wood into this area right in here. Just cut it out a little bit, give it a stripe or whatnot. Turn around and cover up some of this. But to me, everything about this hammer is absolutely gorgeous. Got some really excess wax going on right there. Don't need that. Get on other projects. Make for not a fun time if I have to draw lines and all of a sudden there's wax there, huh? So, what I'm thinking, and unfortunately you can't argue with me since this isn't a live stream or anything like that, is, excuse me, I'm getting a bit of a cold, I think. Why don't we turn around and set up and do a couple small tappy cuts so you can see how one of these is used, and I can see if it feels good in the hand. And if not, we'll work on her some more. So, be with you in a minute as soon as I set up the engraving. Or, yeah, the carving a little bit. Alright, welcome back. First, I will turn around and show you what we're carving. I had already turned around before this. Had started a little bit. I had started right in here, digging out this area, and around there. What I'm doing this for is I had an injury that screwed up my right arm a little bit, and it's in my neck. A couple of my vertebrae are pinching down on the nerves, and yeah, they could really affect my strength and my dexterity with it. And I wanted to prove to myself that I can still do what I love, even with it. And I'm going to be having surgery soon. But that's what all this is for. Turn around and kind of prove to myself. I'm not really doing this for anybody else. But I figure if I'm going to do something, I might as well do it to where people can learn from it a little bit. So I'm using that 3/4 chisel that I used before. Nothing real special to it. And what I'm going to do, set you back up right here. And you can see the area I'm going to be working, which is all the way along here. And we'll turn around and we'll do a little bit. Sitting down, take my hammer. Now, on something like this, I should run through this real quick, because it's kind of something a little different for you. On something like this, what you want to do is you want to take a nice knife, maybe not one like this style at all, but you want to cut along the line you want to keep. I already took a knife and it cut all the way along all these lines on the outside, because that's where I'm going to be working. And what you want to do is you want to cut about as deep as what you're going to go. If you turn around and you're going to be going deeper, you can always turn around and cut in there. Now, as you can see, I'm not in there super deep, but you want to cut in there to a depth that you're going to feel comfortable, like this right in here, so these chips can go away. And these grains, they're running like this. You can see the grains running perpendicular to the line I'm actually cutting. If you're not careful, these grains will run over to here as well and separate from the rest of the wood, pop, and take out some of the area you want to keep. That is not ideal in the least bit on this kind of thing. So what we're going to do is what we already did is we turn around, we cut in here. Now, another thing you can do to make sure that you're at depth, if you're not comfortable cutting that deep, is once you're done with your first cut, you can turn around and you can come in, and you can come in kind of at an angle. I can't do it from this angle because it feels goofy, and if I do it from the proper angle, it's going to block the camera. But what you would do is set it up so you could come this way, and you come in there and you cut at a slight angle. So I'll use the other hand so you can see it. So you'd come in at maybe like 30 degrees, 20-30 degrees, come in like this, and you can cut this area right here that's really close right out without getting into your area by meeting up with this line with your knife from this side. So that is another way to do it if you're very uncomfortable doing that kind of thing. It's a chip carving technique, but it works with this as well. And as I said, we're going to use this. And the reason you want to use something like this is twofold. One, you have a little care in what you're doing, like tap, tap, tap. You can do it really nicely. You can do it hard, and like that. But another thing is, the butt of most chisels, most decent chisels, is wood. This cup right in here is to make sure that this doesn't split. It's not to be struck on. This area right in here, this little button area, this little wooden button area, that's what's made to be struck on. And what you want to do is you want to strike right there nice and careful. And the reason you want it round is because you can come in at a little different angle if you want to, or anything like that. And very, very carefully, very, very meticulously turn around and take angles, curves, anything like that. That's why they're shaped the way they are. Now enough of my rambling. Let's turn around and let's take our first cuts with this thing. Nice and easy. nice shallow angle. You can see all this risen up. That's what I've chipped out. Now what we can do, since we've already cut, is just kind of turn around and take the tip of our chisel, go back where we were, kind of rock it just a little bit, and bust that eye out. And if you notice, none of the wood that we wanted to keep is chipped out. So we'll do that again. Tap, 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 tap. It's a little deeper. This time I'll turn around and just pop this out now, which you can do. Boom. And we are down a decent length. I mean, it's not no 1/8 inch or anything like that. It's more like a 16th or a 32nd. But to me, this is just a relief engraving anyways, or a relief carving. Some of this wood is still going to be high, but all the wood around the outside and on the inside, the little Celtic knot squiggles, all that is going to be cut out around it. So I mean, the areas right in here, that's all going to go away. And what I'm doing that for is I want to be sure that I have the dexterity. Now, if you start coming in at a sharp angle, you can do that just fine, and you can turn around and slowly come like this with this. So we come in sharp, and then we slowly start coming like this to keep our angle true. Once we get right up to our line, and that's the nice thing about these little carving mallets, is you can get right up to that line all delicate like, and you don't run the risk too much of getting too close. Now on a corner like this, you want to cut in here like I did to turn around and give this spot right here a chance to chip out. Watch. We're going to come in at a sharp angle, which gets us depth, and then we're going to rock it inward nice and careful like. Doesn't take much. Look at the corner of this chisel. Now you can't really see it probably so well, but we popped that out. You got a nice decently thick piece, and it popped out beautifully. And you can do this by hand. You don't need the chisel. I mean, you don't need the mallet. You can do this by hand. It just takes a little bit more. Just kind of get in there, make sure you're working with a good sharp tool. There, we didn't use a single strike of the hammer. You just work your way in there, real careful. Just walk it in there. You cut in grains. Once you get close, pop, and it's out of there. And you're doing the same thing, nice relief carving. And once you get done, you just clean it up a little bit the same way. You get in there, real nice and close. Boom, boom, boom. And just like when I was telling you about like cleaning up shoulders and stuff like that, come in on your edge, just kind of ride your edge and cut like a knife with the edge of your chisel here. And what we're doing is we're cleaning out some little feathery grains that didn't want to do their thing. And what we can do is we can take our little hammer again, tap, 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 and suddenly we're right down along it, cutting along it. So, and here I'll show you. This hasn't taken the least bit of damage. I've been hitting mainly in this area. This hasn't really suffered at all because I'm not hitting like I'm trying to drive in a nail. I'm hitting like I'm barely trying to scuff this. Like it's like you want to put a divot in a soda can. Not like you want to crush it. Pop that. I mean, look at that. I mean, makes life so much easier to turn around, be able to pop this and walk away. Right here, I already cut around this curve. So what we're going to do is just stay a little away from that curve. Try to keep the same distance we've been keeping throughout this cut from the edge. Pop it. Yeah, and then what you do is when you're all done, you turn around, you take the same distance that you kept, like this right in here. Now I'm lining up with this, and I'm going to clean up all the way back down, but towards the outside, not towards the cross. And I'm just going to clean up that whole edge. That way it has a smoother look, unless you're looking for a more rustic look. And we come in, we do the same thing again. My hands are both a little wobbly because, as I said, nerve injuries are a bitch. So I mean, I tip, 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 boom. Not hitting real hard at all. And in return, getting a real nice look to it. You watched me do all that. You watched me hitting on all of that, and there's not even a mark on this thing. I'm very happy with the results. It might be a little top heavy. We might actually address that a little later. Pretty sure a lot of you are turning around and gonna look at that and be like, yeah, it's top heavy. It's like 8 inches long just on the hammerhead. But yeah, it's what I wanted. So yeah, works like $1,000,000. Looks like $1,000,000. And we made it. Okay, another thing. I wanted to turn around and make sure, well, where is, no, that's lighter. Another thing I wanted to make sure you guys could see is, where's that knife? That way I can point and not get my big bulky fingers in the way. This curve. A lot of people probably wondering, well, how do you do the curve with a straight edge? Because, I mean, come in there and it's going to cut into that curve. Truth be told, you take the same distancing roughly you've been using, come in there, and once you start getting in there, roll with the corner. So I come in like this. Well, not where I'm cutting. I come in like this. You'll see that edge right there. It's on the edge. But this area right in here is not. So what we do is we roll the tip of the chisel with it. So we go like that while we're cutting. And we end up coming nice and close. And the other nice thing about turning around and coming in there and cutting beforehand is once you get a little more experience, you can almost feel when you hit a spot of low resistance and you know you're right up where you want to be, and you can pop it out. And I think our light just died. I want to make sure that you guys have a good view. You guys still have a good view without that light. Screw it. But yeah, and if you notice, I'm not taking the full chisel length. Right in here is already busted out. And if you take little bites afterwards, it means you don't have to be 100% as careful. And you can get some beautiful results. Now we're going to come in here. Noticing something I didn't do, so you get to watch it live on camera. Lucky you guys. Is I did not cut right in here. So if I turn around and I do the chiseling right across here the way I want to, once I hit this corner, I have a chance of busting out and going way deeper on this side than I want to. So what I'm going to do is I just go into my cut that I already have, and I want to cut out here. Shoot. I want to cut out here just a little bit. As I said, I've lost a lot of strength in my arm. So that's why I'm using two hands and I want to be absolutely 100% on this. Making a mistake on camera, you can't go back. But also making a mistake on a piece of wood, it's harder to fix. And boom. I'm about as back as I want to be. And I'm about as deep as I want to be, so pull that out. Come back with the chisel. This whole width here is about the size of the chisel, so I wanted to do that right away. We come back. We'll take a deeper cut so you can watch. Come in deep. Slowly work that angle the way we want to work it. See that? See this wood popping up here? And we gave it a nice little spot. Turn around and bust up on. This doesn't seem like it's wanting to separate from the edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in on my line here. Now this is another way you can actually trace your carving. Just turn around and take the edge. Make sure you're coming in straight. That's not separated. For some reason, that's not separated. There we go. Well, what you can do is you can take your chisel, come down on the edge of a nice straight line, mind you, and straight down, as long as you're coming down nice and true and flat and flush. And you can cut that edge that way. Now this is being a little bit of a pain in my ass. And what you can do is turn around, since there's some nasty there. We're going to take this knife. Just really careful, really come in. Cut along that edge, because I don't think I got in the corner there as well as I wanted to when I was initially cutting. You probably can't see. And just kind of chip it out. And when we're done, we have a nice little recess now that is cut, crisp, and pretty. So yeah, that's what you do on this kind of thing. Now on something like let me take a look at the camera here. I'm coming off the edge here, so let's move you. Something like this, what I want to do is the same kind of thing. Since we're out here, cut a little bit, cut a little bit, and cut a little bit. That's a horrible cut. What you're doing is, grains are like a bunch of different strands of straw, and what you want to do is you want to cut those straws down smaller and more manageable. Otherwise, what they're going to do is they're going to want to come up with everything else. But in this area in particular, I'm already cutting the straws on this side of things. Oops. I'm already cutting the straws on this type of thing. But up in here, if I turn around and come like this whole edge is going to want to come out. Now, I've got this cut already here, but there's a chance some of those strands aren't running straight, so they might come down here and all of a sudden dig deeper than I want to go. So that's why I have the cuts where I do. That way it's not grabbing any of these over here at the same time. What I do is I come about as far away from the thing I want to cut from. We'll come in a little sharper, because that seems a little more visually appealing. Oops. Came out of my cut there. Just re-register. Re-register. I can't really see what I'm doing, so I'm gonna actually stand up. I was being really delicate with that, not really hitting super hard. And we pop that out. Boom. And as I said, we really don't need the hammer. It just makes life just a little easier. But I'm doing the same thing this way. This hand here, the reason I'm gripping onto this is I can give a little backwards force and slow it down a little bit, and it gives me a little more control when I'm waggling. This hand back here is palm against the end of the chisel, and I'm actually just applying mild pressure. As you can tell, we did most of that without the hammer. Straighten this out just a little bit, which is the nice thing about using your hand, is you have all the control you want, where using a hammer sometimes you can get a little unorthodox, but in return it makes it so that way you're not absolutely exhausting yourself by the end of the carve. I mean, we've done across here, around here, over here, over here, and it's probably been maybe 20 minutes, but most of that has been me talking anyways. So I mean, on a good day, not talking on a video or anything like that, probably do that in 10-12 minutes. But I've been trying to make this more learnable thing. Alright, we have a little bit right here that I don't have cut, and I should really cut that to turn around and keep everything happy. Just cut that a little bit, that way we're not doing any kind of tear out. And I'm going to take my right hand, do the same thing I was doing with my left hand when I was going. Take my left hand, butt it, and cut. See? Nice and neat. To the point. Remember, keep your chisels and other tools that you work with wood nice and sharp, and they will be more than happy to cut this wood all day long. If you don't, you're going to be fighting twice as much. And I don't know if you've ever heard the old thing where we're going to do this now without a hammer, show you, where if you work with a dull knife, you're about 4 or 5 times more likely to get cut than with a good sharp one. And that's because you have to use so much more pressure to get the same results. And as soon as you start having to just drive it in there, you start losing control. Now, another thing you can do is if you do not have the strength in your arm to drive this, and you're feeling particularly weak, don't worry about it. Take a part of your body, like your chest, your sternum area, your belly, anything like that. And what we could do is you butt that against the butt of the end of your chisel here, along with your hand. Make sure your hand is there, because your hand is very important for the feel of what you're wanting to learn, what you're wanting to get. You want to be able to feel exactly what you're cutting and how you're cutting. And use that as a little bit of oomph, because I'm going to tell you right now, even if you can't turn around and do a planking maneuver or anything like that, you still got a lot more strength in your core than you do in your arm. Unless you're some kind of Adonis as far as lifting with dumbbells and stuff, or honestly, unless maybe you're in a wheelchair so your core doesn't get a lot of strength work but your arms do. I can't really see where your arms would be stronger than your core, because your core is what picks you up. You're coming out of a chair, standing up. That is the part of you that says, hey, let's straighten up, you know? So, can't really see how that would affect much. Now, the clamp I got on this side of things is actually causing me a little bit of grief, but I don't want to adjust it right now since we're on a good fly and we're just talking here. So, yeah. Just watch me do that whole corner right here. And this whole curve without going for the mallet at all. And all I did was use a little bit of strength from my belly and my core. And that's what we do all the way around this thing. And then we trim up and be careful. And like this right in here, there's a slight step right in here, but we can take care of that later. Right over here, we're going to have to make another cut. Turn around and be able to come in like this. Guess I'm kind of closer to the camera, so we'll probably do that now. Take your tip, go into the area that you actually have a cut in. Just kind of sink it in there a little bit. And then we turn around and come in about as far. You see me coming across that line just a little bit, and the reason is because I'm going to run into that curve otherwise. Pop that up. Boom. And we just clean this area up with the corner just a little bit. See all that little itty bitty feathery stuff? That's what I was talking about the stubborn grains. Itty bitty feathering. And the reason you see me woggle the chisel just that tiny bit is it helps cut the grains every once in a while. Now, chisels, they have that steep curve right in here, that bevel. What you can turn around and do is you can actually come in upside down with a chisel. It's just fine. It'll still cut, still do everything. But that will act like a flat, and you can turn around and come like this with it and slowly pop out. We could do that on another one of these cuts that you're watching. But for right now, I want to get in there, but I want to be able to see, and I want you to be able to see. So I'm taking that bevel, and I'm going flat up against my area. So all the curve, all the angle of the chisel is actually towards me. So what I was doing was coming in like this to my line. Now I was able to work with it and still be able to see what I was doing. So yeah. I showed you really don't need the hammer, but at the same time, the hammer makes it to where you can feel a bit more comfortable with what you're doing sometimes. Pardon the mess. We've had high winds and everything else, so there's a bit of garbage on the ground and such, so I got to clean that up. But I told you I'd show you that maple tree. That is a maple tree. If you notice the limbs and such, they're not super huge. Kind of a pointer here. They're not super huge like that one right there. Everything I can chop back from the garage. But the main section's like right in here. This is where we get those pieces like what I got for the mallet. We had some more growing on the other side of the garage, and I cut those down. That's the timber pile that I had turned around and kind of threw everything into it and then dug out of to grab that piece. And yeah, that's a mulberry tree. Now when it gets a bit more spring and a little less winter, this will have all kinds of leaves on it and things, and then sprout all kinds of berries. You can see the little buds growing already. Those are all going to be berries, and the birds absolutely just can't get enough of that stuff. So this tree right here, it's not the one that gave me the mallet. I just wanted to show you where it came from. I mean, you saw the bark the way it was. If we come up close to this one, see that bark? See that right in there? I actually burnt that so this tree does not get disease. This one I did not burn, and if you notice, it's already dying and dead right in there. This branch will probably die back to here because bugs, mold, different things like that can get into the tree and really kill it. So if you're going to cut branches off a tree and you want that tree to still be alive, turn around, make sure you take care of it, because they're just as susceptible to disease and infection as we are. But yeah, that's a mulberry tree. I'll show you more when it gets to better weather and such. I think I got another one actually growing over here. Let's take a look. Yeah, I got another one growing over here. Son of a bitch. Gonna have to cut them out. We got a couple. Hold on. That's a little mulberry tree growing right there. And we got 3 more growing right there. I'm gonna have to take out. Tree roots are a very bad thing for foundations and stuff, so I'm gonna have to take care of that. Turn around, come over here. Yeah, you can see where I'd cut some of it already. I'll have to take care of this. We got all kinds of mulberry trees out here, I didn't realize. But, anyways, I told you I was going to show you a mulberry tree. Showed you a mulberry tree. There it is from a different angle. So yeah, that's going to be it for this particular project. We'll go in more into that relief carving in the next videos. They'll be labeled something else like relief carving, stuff like that. But that's it for the hammer for now, unless you guys comment and let me know what you'd like to see done with the hammer. If it's going to be inlays, if it's going to be design work, carving on the carving hammer, and then let me know. If we come up with some good ideas, I might do them. Until then, have fun.